What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Acts of Creation. Today we're going to talk about riff variation and using those variations to hopefully structure a song. So before we get started, I am playing a 7-string. This is a gorgeous Carvin TL70. It's a Telecaster model, obviously. It's neck through, really gorgeous. It's got this really nice zebra wood fretboard. Other players like rosewood. I'm in standard tuning. Now, if you don't have a 7-string, that's okay. You can just transpose these riffs down the 6-string and you'll be all right. So like I said, we're talking about riff variation and taking those ideas and manipulating them, playing them a different way so you can use those as your inspiration for your song and not so much worry about coming up with a million different parts or the next greatest riff. Right? So I'm just going to give you an example of an older song of mine and just a couple of the parts. I'm not going to play the song, just some of the parts. So the initial seed, right, the initial core idea that everything stemmed from was this. I like to play closed voiced chords, nice and together, and it creates nice voice leading. So I'm playing this G major 7 shape. Now I know because of the zebra wood there's no fret markers, so it might be hard to see the frets I'm playing. I'll try to be aware of that as I tell you what I'm doing, as well as the tab. The link for the description is down below, so download the tab and follow along. Very easy. So like I said, the main chords that all of these parts are based off of are essentially a G major chord, a B minor chord, and an E minor chord. And the first chord, like I said, the first part starts with this G major 7. That's 10 on the A, 9, 11. Little G major 7 shape, root, third, 7th, right? And it's up. Right? That's the first riff. That's the opening riff of the track, and those are the core idea. Right? So I play the G major 7. I step up to a B minor shape, right? Same string set, 14, 12, 14. Same string set, drop it down to E. 7, 9, 7. And you can even extend that to the 7 on the B string. Get a nice E minor 9 chord. All of these chords you can play with the extensions. Right? So like I said, that's the core idea. That's where everything came from. So that goes in the intro. It's pretty simple. It's pretty open. Allows for vocals to come in, nice bass line, and whatnot. So then the song progresses, and then we come up with more parts. So let's take those harmonies, and this time we're going to play a clean riff. All right, nice transition. Right? So we're going to start off with an E minor chord this time, and we're going to be basing off the idea of this E minor 9 chord. But instead of putting E in the bass, we're going to put B in the bass. Still sounds really nice. And instead of making this gigantic chord, we're going to stick to the smaller chords. So we're going to only play a fraction of that chord. Right? So we're going to play the open B. Right? So I have 8 on the D. I'm sorry, 9 on the D. 11 on the G. 8 on the B. Right? And that's the inner notes of the E minor 9 chord. And like I said, I put the B in the bass. Next, I'm going to make a G chord. More like a G sus2 chord. Could be a couple things depending on what you want. But basically, it's 10 on the A, 7 on the D. Here's my 2 or 9 sus2. 9 on the G string. And then 7. 4-note chord, 10, 7, 9, 7. Then we're going to go into E chord. But instead of going to the E minor, we're going to change it up, create a variation. So I'm going to play this E minor 9 chord. Right, that's open E, 7 on the A, 6 on the D, 9 on the G, 7, and that's our 9, 7 on the B. Right, and then we're just going to end it with a quick little turnaround. And that turnaround is exactly what we open the song with, that G major 7 to the E minor. And so let me play that part for you. So that's another part of the song that comes in. Obviously the dynamics change, but it's the same overall harmony and chords as the intro riff. All right, so let's kick back on our distortion for a minute here. And now we're going to take that exact progression we just played and we're going to drop it down an octave on the low strings, add some distortion. Right? Very cool riff, builds up to something. Right? So like I said, those are the same chords. So we have right there, open B, B, 7 on the E string, 9 on the A string, 5 on the D string. Right? The next chord was the G sus chord, 8 on the low B, 5, 7, 4. And if you notice when I play it, I'll shift. We're not holding out these chords and letting all the notes ring because we're playing with distortion, and that probably wouldn't sound good. We're palm muting, so we're playing one note at a time. So it allows me to let go of the chord and move on. 8, 7, 8, 7, 8, 5, 7, back to 5, 4. Right, the E chord, 5 on the B, 4, 7, 4. And then the same chord from before, a G major 7, E minor, just on the low string. Right? So like I said, we play through that a couple times and then it builds up to something, which is the next riff, which I'm going to talk about. Right? And that would be the outro riff. Right, every band comes together, big climactic ending. So all I'm doing is I'm playing a little 1-0, typical metal, everyone's favorite thing to do. Right, and then I'm playing a little voicings of these chords. The same voicing from the clean section, the 9, 11, 8, or the E minor 9. And then I'm playing B minor, which is 9 on the D, 7, 7. And then a G sharp minor, which is on the A string 11, D string 9, G string 11, which is just essentially an inversion of the E major chord or the E chord. Right. So we have that. Right, and then the end just power chords, so E minor. Right, 5th fret is E, so it's 5, 7, 8, E minor, 3, 5. Harmonic on the G string. And there you go, riff variation. It's about 4 different riffs based off the same progression, the same 3 chords. So instead of struggling with coming up with a million different parts, try to manipulate the parts you already have. This way there's a cohesive thread going through all of your parts and harmonies. Okay? So like I said before, the description, the tabs is down in the description. Download those, check them out. And as always, let me know what you come up with. So until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.